little microphone. Here we go. Well, hello everyone. I'm turning on my microphone. I'm sitting on the side of the road over at Sidney, Kentucky. Right in front of me is the old McGinnis mine. It's the big silos they got on the side of the road for the coal company here. It used to be McGinnis, and then it got bought out by uh, Massey Energy, and then it became Alpha Energy, and you name it. Anyway, it's closed. There's nothing going on. It's shut down. Been shut down for a long time, actually, and everything there is deteriorated. And they'll leave this thing standing until they crumble, probably. I don't know. So anyway, I am on the road. I'm going to Pikeville, go to the medical center over where my mom is in the hospital, and go see how she's doing today. I think they're supposed to let her out today. So that's what I wanted to do. While I'm driving over to Pikeville, there are some places where the signal comes and goes. It fades out a lot here and there, but just hang on. It does come back. I try to drive just slightly above the speed limit. I don't want to get pulled over. I hate giving people money that, I don't want to give people any extra money that they don't already have collected up on whatever the resources might be. So behind me, you can see out the two. This car's got kind of like those old hearse doors where they open up like that. That's what my brother called it. Oh, so if you don't know, my name is Cassandra Williamson, and I am the host of these shows that I do with Midday in the Morning, with Midday with Cassandra and The Path Forward weekdays. Usually it's middle of the day for the midday, obviously. The name kind of suggests that, unless there's breaking news and I get in. But right now I just like doing a couple of things, letting people know what's going on, and that, you know, as I'm driving. So I haven't decided if I want to let you see me as I'm going forward. Let me see. I'm going to try to turn it just a little bit more centered with me and my head in the picture anyway, as I'm looking forward out the car. Yeah, let's just do that, because you've seen all these images. If you've been following me any length of time at all, you've seen images in my videos of these roads, and there's things going on around here. So let me hook in my extra little thing here to keep because it does take a lot of energy to run these things. And so I'm getting on the road now, and I'm going to turn the camera around. So here we go. Triple camera backside. And it'll blur it out if I don't just do it a certain way. Hold on as we kind of gain in on, focus in on the picture a little bit. Ooh, there we go. Have to trick it. So directly in front of me is, I wonder why it's faded out like that. That's my old wrinkled hand. Okay, so here we go, folks. I'm heading on the road now, going toward Pikeville from Sidney, Kentucky on 119. And the reason I'll tell everybody where I am and what's going on is because there are so many fake people out here in this blogosphere and the Twitter spheres, Facebook and all that. There's so many bots, and they all claim all kinds of different things. And, you know, I'm tired of it. I consider that to be less than honorable to come out here and use fake names on these sites and then demand everybody else be real. And so I don't like it. It just rubs me wrong. I have people jumping in all the time saying, yeah, you're just this or you're just that. And I'm going, and you are the one hiding behind a fake name and an avatar. You have no right to talk to me about who I am and how I wish to be identified or loved or however. It's none of your freaking business. You're the one hiding. And so I don't get it. There's hypocrisy abounds and all of that. Anyway, so I'll let you know what the update is on Mom whenever I get over there. I don't know how far away I am, probably about 17 miles, 18 miles to Pikeville right now. This is going up over Bent Mountain, and looks like you're just driving off into the sky. Oh, it's beautiful here. Why wasn't it like this when I was growing up? It was ugly back here. I thought it was. Anyway, I'm going to put cruise control on because my feet don't go with me whenever I'm driving, talking. So this is Bent Mountain. I'm coming off of it, and you can see it's vibrant, it's colorful around here, and the trees and stuff are going to start changing colors really soon. And then it will become even more gorgeous because it's like all those fall colors will come out. And the sign in front of me says Meta, 1 mile, Meta, Kentucky. That's not Meta as in Facebook Meta, it's Meta around here. And I don't know where that name came from. Meta. I do not know. Maybe it was I want to go out and meet somebody. I don't know. That's a possibility here in Pike County, Kentucky. Anybody know where the name came from? Well, I honestly don't know where the name originated. I know a lot of the things. There's a lot I don't know, obviously, here. But it's fun. There's a little place called Zebulon that's down through Meta, and you go to Meta and on down the road and all that kind of stuff. There's Zebulon in Pike County. It's named for Zebulon Pike, who never once set foot in this county. But they had a lot of respect for him, apparently. So, yeah. So this is for Pike, Zebulon Pike. Anyway, so I'm on the road to Pikeville. I don't know the status of Mom. I've heard additional news, doctors or anything like that yet. It usually shows up on, has been and does show up on my chart for her medical record. So she was, there were dramatic improvements yesterday from her cognitive abilities, her clarity. She was smiling and active and telling jokes. Has anybody in the family ever heard Mom tell a joke? I don't think so. Yeah, she told a joke the other day. I'm claiming it as a joke anyway. It could have been serious. So they finally, yesterday around noon, they finally authorized her to have some food. That took her off the NPO so that she could get some food. And they brought in, they said they're going to bring some food in there that it might not be what she's used to, it might not be good or anything like that. Probably wasn't that good or whatever. And she looked at them and said, I'm sure it'll be all right. I don't get real good food at home. And then she turned and looked at me and smiled. And the nurse says, well, fixes your food at home. And I raise my hand up and I go, that'd be me. And the nurse is red and I'm just laughing and Mom's just cackling. Oh my God, it's funny. It can be. So I've said it as I move on. I'll be at the lecture here coming up really soon. I think image will be down towards Meta, and Johns Creek, Kentucky is down through there. And I built a building down there one time, a long time ago. It's a pharmacy building. And pharmacy building and doctor's offices all combined together. I built that building. It's been more than 20 years ago. Nice building. It was a fun project. I designed that one from the ground up. I do the architectural work myself, turn it all in, get it approved. The states will say, oh, yeah, this is going to be all right. And the craziest thing about that building, though, it's the pharmacy building down at Johns Creek, is that on one corner of the building, fresh ground that had never been before dug up or anything. I got down into it. I was clearing it out for the footer, and it turns out that the whole section underneath the back right corner of the building, underneath it, that whole area was pure. It was like it had just filled the machine. I never got to dig down into it and kind of drive in. The footer be stable for that building. It took a lot bum, bum, bum. That's beautiful. There you are. You're all back. Thank you for sticking around. That was one of those dead spots. Um, I know I probably froze on your end, but hey, no. So I'm driving over to see Mom. It's like it's Friday. I don't know if it's the 12th or the 13th. Let me see. I don't know right off. It's been a long, long, long a lot going on everywhere. I lost signal again. Yes. So as I was saying, for me, where'd you go? I froze. Hey, you're back. There you go. Froze a second. So anyway, I was saying before those two brief interruptions was that I am strongly and emotionally and mentally engaged with what's going on in the country because it has such a direct impact on all Americans, people I love, people I care about, and have a great deal of respect for. The stuff that's going on in my opinion, is hugely important for the future of this country. And I push back on things where I think that is detrimental, and I support the things that need to be supported. And I will also, there's gray areas in all this. There's no such thing as a black and white way of looking at this stuff that's going on in this country. There's a little bit of good here and a little bit of bad there and a little bit of bad there and a little bit of good here on either way, all the way around, every perspective. If you know about the Janus Janusian, I call it Janusian, the Roman god that had like two faces, or I'm going to use the four faces version because it makes more sense to me. But there's no such thing as a black and white understanding of everything. The shooting Kirk, Charlie Kirk, I despise the stuff that he stands for, the vitriol that he cast toward transgender people. And he did a lot. I mean, he really cast lots of aspersions on trans people and wanted them all rounded up. And he thought that maybe he could pray over them and use electroshock therapy and actually get them to be healed. Those views are wrong. They're baseless. They're anti-science. They're anti-humane. They're anti-human rights in every way. But that's what he supported. He believed all that stuff. He promoted it. But here's the thing, though. See, in this country, I will defend to the very bitter end his right to say those things and to believe those things and to preach about those things to his audiences and his communities and the people that followed him. And to have this man executed, basically, assassinated in Utah, to be assassinated, it's the most disturbing thing that you could ever do. A fellow American. I don't like anything that he stood for. Now, there's one thing, let me just back that up just a little bit. There's something I do happen to think he was going down the right path in, but he never, he didn't go far enough with that. He didn't go far enough for conversations about viewpoint diversity. I'm serious about this. I want to engage with people who think differently than me. I don't want to shut anyone out. And I hope that I do not come across as railing against your beliefs if they're different than mine. That's not my place. My goal is, hopefully through a conversation and connection and establishing a relationship with people, that we can see at least the other side and walk in another person's shoes without declaring that they have no right to exist. And that's the problem we face in this country, is that we've become so entrenched in our own little spheres of influence, spheres of engagement in our your local garden club or the senior citizen center or whatever it is you're engaged in locally. It takes a tremendous amount of willpower to declare that you are not going to allow a set of beliefs to define everything about your life without including other possible views of things. You have to be very deliberate about it, because what happens every time, left, right, center, what happens every time, people begin to feel comfortable with where they are. They begin to accept everything that they'll question some things. They say they will, but what happens, invariably, what happens is you'll have the bigger, stronger, more powerful voices kind of go, we don't want to look at that now, and we can't bring that person in here because they don't look like us or think like us, love like us, believe like us. We don't want that in here because it would just might change the culture of where we are, who we believe and what we believe in. And that's where we are right now with people like, that's what Kirk believed. That's what Charlie Kirk believed. He was wrong to believe that, in my opinion, but he was right. He has the right to believe it. Whether I like it or not, he still has the right. He had the right to believe those things. He did not deserve to be killed. There are threats going on right now. There are threats going on right now against people like Matt Walsh. And I can't stand anything Matt stands for. Nothing. But I will defend his right to a life, to pursue it as he sees fit. I have no right to tell that man how he should live and who he should love and what the parameters are of that. Yes, I know he's a theocratic fascist. He says that pointedly, and he's very clear about it. He's not a hypocrite about it. He's not hiding behind some fake image or fake name or an avatar or anything like that. He pointedly tells you exactly who he is. He's not ashamed of his beliefs. But he has no right to have his life threatened. And I've seen so many people over on Blue Sky, and on the Blue Sky thing, it was for liberals to have a safer place basically than Twitter. It's turned into a cesspool of people going over there and saying, Walsh is next, or Trump is next, or somebody else is next. What the crap is wrong with you? And you're going to say, we have the right to believe that too. Yeah, you may do that, and I will defend your right to do it. But whenever you're calling for another person's life to end, then you're wrong. You're threatening the well-being and life of another person. I hope they round you up. I hope they find you and at the very least, charge you with something, because we have no business threatening another human being's life in this country, another American. I don't care if it's on Blue Sky, if you're a liberal, if you're an ultra-Orthodox Catholic or Muslim or Russian Orthodox or Greek, I don't really care. If your beliefs take you to the place where you think you have a right to threaten the lives of another person being simply because they are different from you, think differently than you, love differently than you, identify differently than you, then you are freaking wrong. It's wrong, period. Your religion needs a reset. If you're using your Christianity or your Muslim faith or your whatever it might be, your Buddhist faith, your faith needs a reset if it's calling for the execution of other people because they don't agree with you. There's something wrong with the religion. It's not something wrong with the people. It's something wrong with your freaking religion. I love that little old Fiat. Right? That only is gray. I had a yellow one. I love my little yellow Fiat. Red Mini Cooper too, but hey, what the heck? I'm gonna let this truck in front of me. Let get up here. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Come on. But not anymore. So hang on, I may lose signal. I'll come back later. There we are. I got back. So I'm gonna have to watch closely in this parking deck. It's really tight. They designed it kind of really tight to fit the space. But it's a good job. So there we are. I've got to go up to the 7th floor where mom is located. The execution of them should never either. It's not right. It is not right. I don't care what you believe, how you believe, whatever it is. If you are calling for the death of another person because even though they may be calling for your death, like they have been doing for trans people, I get it from Matt Walsh. I mean, I, I'm not going to call for his death, even though he wants to round people like me up and put us in insane asylums. Yes, he does. And that's what Kirk believed also. So, yes, I have a lot of really deep sense of disgust with these people who are wanting to round up people they disagree with and put them away. Kirk did. He engage with people. He didn't want to talk to them, but he would talk to them in such a way of thinking because he wanted to impose his view on it. He didn't want to listen to their views. He wanted to impose his way of being rational and reasonable and logical about things. He's a very smart person. He's somebody you didn't really want to get into a debate with because he would twist everything you said and turn it back in a certain way that he wanted it to go. And he wasn't interested in having a conversation with you. He was interested in putting his views and imposing his views on you. So I have serious problems with that kind of stuff. I disagree with it vastly. But yet, here we are. I will defend the rights for you to believe as you see fit. I will defend it to the end of the earth. I will never agree with a lot of things, and I will have conversations about it, and I will talk about it, but I will never call for your execution or putting you in a mental health institution. I do get righteously angry a lot of times because there's so much going on that, I mean, it's just so much vitriol going on and attacks against LGBT people in this country, and it is senseless. It's baseless. LGBT and T people, we've been around forever. We've been around far longer than every single religion in the world. We predate all of them. Because, you know why? You know how I know that? Because it's not a matter of choice who we are. It's not a matter of choice. There was no way to actually decide this. Yes, there are varying degrees of strength, varying degrees of identity, the strength of that identity, because that's just the way the human genome works. The brain works that way. There's distinctions between gender and sex, and people are just so screwed up on thinking about it. But no, gender and sex is the same thing. No, that's like telling me that we're going to stick to the Dalton model of the atom from 1803. You know, it was a billiard ball model. They thought that that's the most irreducible thing we can possibly have when it comes to what an atom would look like. In reality, we know it wasn't true. Another 100 or so years, we'd figured out that it was actually electrons, protons, neutrons, and then it took another few years, and we actually figured out that, oh, wait a minute, that's not even as far down as it can go. It goes down further. It goes to, quarks and all that kind of stuff, anti-quarks, and all the different 9 flavors of quarks. But that's just, you know. So that's what I think about it. People have a long way to go. I'm sitting now on the parking deck. I'm getting ready to get out and go in and check on Mom. I'll keep you updated, people. Thank you for watching. Share this stuff around. Let other people see what's going on. If you happen to think that this is, agree with me on this or whatever, then you happen to think that if you're an American, you served in the military, you served on the police force as a first responder or any of those kind of things, you serve for all Americans. You served for all Americans, folks. And I think most of us agree with that sentiment. Whether they're LGBT, whether they're Jewish, whether they're black, whether they're Hispanic, we serve for all Americans. And we need to start promoting that and talking about that more. And our veteran population out there needs to be the one going, wait a minute, wait a minute. I may disagree with Cassandra over here, but I did serve for all Americans. That's what we need to be doing. Let me turn this thing around. I want to get the camera the last shot here. I don't want to invite guests. I just want to get this up here. Get that down, pull that down. Get up here, back to the front camera. Okay, so here I am sitting in a darkened space in a parking deck. I'm going to go in. So let me just repeat one more time before I go in here and check on Mom. If you're a veteran, a first responder, or anybody like that, if you served in one of the any of those, if you serve in your community, do you do it for all? Just some. Most of us here in this country and elsewhere, really, for all the people in that community, right? In your community, in your church communities, in your little towns, wherever you may live, in the big cities where you live, or in the agencies within which you work, or you serve for all Americans. Do not. You're not going to agree with me, but I know one thing. I do know one thing. I know I serve for everyone. And I can also tell you that I don't agree with most of them. But that's all right. That's quite all right, folks. My disagreements do not rise to the level of assassinating somebody else because they believe differently. Word is that they've captured the person who killed Charlie Kirk. Captured by that, I mean, I think his family walked with him into the police station. He got himself turned in. Hopefully that's the right person, that there's not someone else out there involved in all this too, because that person does need to be brought to justice. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.